let us discuss motion of center of mass and conservation of momentum. So here is the, if we have to give the position of center of mass, this is the formula which we started initially. So position is given by summation of all the MI/RI and divide by sum of all the masses. If we differentiate, so what are these M1, M2? These are basically masses of the individual particles in the system. So if we differentiate, then we can get the velocity of center of mass. So to get the velocity, I am just differentiating with respect to time. So when I differentiate the position of center of mass, what will this become? This will become velocity of center of mass. And similarly, everything will get differentiated, right? So in differentiation, we can integrate, like differentiate each and every term individually. So this will become dr1 by dt. What is dr1 by dt? It is basically v1. It is velocity of first particle. Similarly, this is v2. This is the velocity of our second particle. This is v3 and so on. So what will our formula become? Our formula will become the velocity of center of mass is m1 v1 plus m2 v2 plus m3 v3 and so on, divided by m1 plus m2 plus m3. So sum of all the masses. So same thing, what we can apply for RCM, same thing can be applied for VCM as well. That velocity of center of mass is also given like that. Now let us get the acceleration. To get the acceleration, we can simply again differentiate the relationship. So once we differentiate the VCM relationship, what we get is dVCM by dt. So what is this? This thing is acceleration of center of mass. And what about these individual terms? These individual terms, this is basically my A1. dV1 by dt means rate of change in velocity of particle 1, which is acceleration of particle number 1. And similarly, having mass m1. Similarly, this is A2. This is A3. So what does our formula becomes? Our formula will become acceleration of center of mass is equal to m1a1 plus m2a2 plus m3a3 and so on, divided by m1 plus m2 plus m3. Like, so it is basically the same formulas can be applied for all three. So position of center of mass is given by this. This thing is nothing but sigma mi/ri divided by summation of all the masses. This thing is nothing but, once you need to get the velocity, you can apply the same formula, sigma mi/vi. What is vi? Vi is the velocity of individual particle divided by sum of all the masses. And same thing goes for acceleration, sigma mi/ai divided by sum of all the masses. Now, if I take, see the acceleration of center of mass, we just discussed that it is given by sigma mi/ai divided by sigma mi. So if I take this over here, it will multiply. So I'll get summation of all the masses times acceleration of center of mass. That is going to give me sigma mi/ai, right? Which is the line which is written over here. Sum of all the masses into acceleration of center of mass is given by m1a1 plus m2a2 plus m3a3 and so on. Now what is the significance? So what is this? This is basically total mass, capital M I am writing, total mass of the entire system. What is this? We know F is equal to ma. This is the mass of the particle 1 and this is the absolute acceleration of particle number 1. So that is basically force on particle 1, and to be precise, the net force on particle 1. What about this m2a2? This is again the net force on particle 2. And so on, we can write for each and every particle. So this is what? This is sum of all the particles individually. And what about this? This is the total mass into total acceleration of center of mass. So that is again the F, but force on what? The total mass of the system, acceleration of the system, that is the center of mass. So this is basically the net force of system. So what is the conclusion over here is that if we want to get the net force on the system, we can add the individual forces. And the next conclusion which we get over here is the internal forces. Can we see any internal force? The force on 1 due to 2, force on 2 due to 1. These forces are not to be included in this expression. We can simply say sum of all the external forces gives you the total force on the system. So internal forces which the particles exert on each other does not play a role in the motion of center of mass at all. So internal forces are not to be considered. So now let us discuss the motion of center of mass. So case by case study. So first is, what if our net external force is 0? If our net external force is 0, then we know that F net can be written as total mass into acceleration of center of mass. So if this is 0, then what? The acceleration of center of mass is going to be 0. So the ACM is nothing but 0. So we will say that, but what if ACM is 0? What is ACM? The ACM is nothing, acceleration of center of mass is nothing but M1A1 plus M2A2 and so on, divide by M1 plus M2 plus M3 and so on. So if this thing is 0, it is not compulsory that individual accelerations are 0. So even though entire mass, the entire system is having its acceleration as 0, but individual accelerations may or may not be 0. They might be 0 and they might be non-zero. It's just that this entire quantity has to be 0. Now, if acceleration of individual particles are non-zero, then what will happen? Their velocity will change. So we'll see kinetic energy of system is not constant. It may change due to internal forces. If internal forces are acting, then basically individual particle will experience acceleration, and if they are having acceleration, then their velocity will increase or decrease, or it will change, and hence we can say kinetic energy of system might or might not be constant. Now next is velocity. What about velocity of center of mass? When we are saying that acceleration of center of mass is 0, then we say velocity of center of mass is going to be constant. But that does not imply that individual velocities are constant. So here the velocity of center of mass is constant, but individual velocities V1, V2, individual velocity of the particles might or might not be constant. It may change due to again internal forces, same reason as kinetic energy. Now momentum conservation, next heading is momentum conservation. So in this case, if external force is 0, then basically the force can always be, the total linear momentum of a system of a particle is equal to its product of the total mass of the system and the velocity of the center of mass. So this is how we define the linear momentum. Now we know that linear momentum is total mass into velocity of center of mass. And what was our F external? F external was the original definition of force was the rate of change in linear momentum. So it is dp by dt. But what if this F external is 0? So when this F external is 0, then this thing is 0. And if this thing is 0, if rate of change is 0, means the change in momentum is 0, means the momentum will remain a constant quantity. Linear momentum is not going to change when F external is 0. So our linear momentum of the system will remain same, will remain a constant, it will remain same, and that's which is called the momentum conservation. Now, when the vector sum of external forces acting on the system is 0, that is net F is 0, the total linear momentum of the system remains a constant, and this is the basically principle of momentum conservation. So this is the statement of linear momentum conservation. Now, if I want to say that total linear momentum, how do you write total linear momentum? You find the linear momentum of individual particle, and since it is a vector quantity, you do the vector addition of all the linear momentum, and that should remain a constant. So now, let us discuss this. This is our case 2. So when center of mass is at rest, what if your F external is 0 and center of mass is at rest? So if your center of mass is at rest, means the velocity of center of mass is 0. Then what is velocity of, velocity is nothing but dr by dt. And if we are talking about center of mass, then it is the position vector of center of mass, and this is the rate of change in the position of center of mass, which is going to be 0. And now if this thing is 0, what do we say? That this thing is 0, and that implies that the position of center of mass is not changing, it is a constant. So now if this is constant, is it compulsory that all the particles, their position will remain same? Answer is a no, because how do we write position of center of mass? This is m1 r1. r1 is position vector of first particle plus m2 r2. r2 is position vector of second particle, and so on for all the particles divided by sum of their masses. And now I will say, even though this thing is 0, that means this addition, this numerator is 0, not the individual things are 0. So individual positions, they may or may not change. So even though our center of mass is stationary, like center of mass is not moving, but it's still the individual particles, they may move and their position might change. Let us do a question. So this question says, a wooden plank of mass 20 kg is resting on a smooth horizontal floor. So there is a man of mass 60 kg and he starts moving from one end of the plank to the other end. So he starts moving from here to here. The length of the plank is 10 meters, which is shown in the figure. And now we need to find the displacement of the plank over the floor when the man reaches to the other end of the plank. Now here is the thing, when this person moves from here to here, what happens in the process? See, there is this person, there is this plank and the ground. There is no friction, the surface is smooth. So there is no friction in over here and all the forces are vertical, right? So if I take these two as a part of the system, then I will say the force on this man plus plank will be 0 always. So there is no horizontal force, because if there is a net horizontal force, that has to be this friction, but it is absent. So I'll say F external is 0. One thing, first thing is the external force is 0. So we can apply momentum conservation. So here I can apply linear momentum conservation. How to apply? I'll say that if, and what about VCM? As of now, the man is stationary. So that is initially 0. And now if the center of mass is at rest, the center of mass will remain at rest because acceleration of center of mass is 0. So we will say that change in velocity of center of mass is going to be 0. And that will say that if it is stationary now, it will remain stationary. So we can say the RCM. If velocity is 0 means RCM, the position of center of mass, is a constant. So position of center of mass is not going to change in this case. So whatever is center of mass, whatever is the position of center of mass as of now, that position will be same in the question when the man moves all the way from here to there. Now let us move the man to this end. So in the process, see, one mass is going towards right. So other mass, this mass has to go, the plank has to move towards left in order to keep the center of mass in the same position. So let us say that our plank is moving in this direction by X amount. So this is X and the person has to travel all the way 10 meters with respect to plank. But when person travels 10 and it comes back by X, so person is actually traveling just 10 minus X. Now let us write the position of center of mass. Initially and finally both has to be same because there is no external force and we have already discussed that center of mass will remain at rest. So I am assuming this as the coordinate system and I will say the X position of center of mass will remain the same. So how do we write XCM? I'll write M1 X1 plus M2 X2. Initially, this is our initial situation where M1 is like the person and M2 is like the plank and is equal to M1 X1 plus M2 X2, the mass into X coordinate of the particular mass finally. So what is our mass 1? This person is 60 kg and what about the plank? If we see the plank is basically the plank is of 20 kg and the man is of 60 kg. So here this is M1 which is plank. So this is 20 kg and this is 60 kg. So I will say mass 1 which is plank which is 20 kg into X coordinate of its center of mass. Where is the center of mass lie for the plank? It is a uniform object. So center of mass lies exactly in the middle. So what is the X coordinate? X coordinate is as of now it is plus 5 plus m2 x2. Where is the mass 2? Mass 2 is the person. And what is the x coordinate? Basically, the mass is 60 kg and the x coordinate is 0 because he is lying at x is equal to 0. This is initial situation. What about the final situation? The 20 kg plank has moved in this direction by x. So the center of mass will also move in this direction by x. So initially it is 5. Now it is, see, this is 5, and when it moves in this direction by x, the distance which is left is 5 minus x. So I am writing this is 5 minus x plus the mass of the person into, so this is the person and person is moving in that direction. So what will be x coordinate of the final x coordinate of the person's center of mass? That is going to be 10 minus x, and we just need to simplify this equation. So this is 100 and this is 100 minus 20x plus this is 600 minus 60x, and that gives me this 20x and 60x is basically 80x is equal to 600. So this gets cancelled, and I'll say x is equal to 30 by 4, which is 7.5. And what about units? Units are all in meters. So this is 7.5 meter. So when the person moves in that direction, the plank moves in this direction by 7.5 meter. And what was the question asking? If we say the original question is asking, find the displacement of the plank over the floor. So we will say the plank is moving in this direction by 7.5 meter. And that is going to be our answer. Let us discuss the next case when the net force is 0 but only in one particular direction. The overall force is not 0 but force is 0 in a particular direction. So let us assume that the net force is 0 in just x direction or along x-axis. So if it is 0 along x-axis, what can we conclude? We can conclude that acceleration of the system in x direction is acceleration of the system along x direction is also going to be 0. And if acceleration is 0, then we will say that velocity of center of mass is not going to change along x-axis, so it is going to remain constant. And if that happens, then we can apply that this thing is constant, or we can say, what is this? This is momentum, right? Momentum of particle 1 along x-axis, because we are taking what velocity? We are taking velocity of particle 1 and x component of that and multiplying with its mass. So this is nothing but momentum of particle number 1 with along x-axis. So like that, all the momentum of all the particles along x-axis will remain constant. What does that mean? That means that momentum is conserved only in x direction. So once we know that momentum is conserved in only x direction, so if forces are 0, net forces is 0 along x direction, then we can conserve the linear momentum along x direction. Let us do a question. So this question says that a gun of mass capital M fires a bullet of mass small m with a speed Vr relative to the barrel. Vr is not the actual speed, it is relative to the barrel of the gun, which is inclined at an angle of 60 degree to the horizontal. The gun is placed over a smooth horizontal surface. We need to find the recoil speed of the gun. So let us discuss. See, this is the picture. So this is the gun and we are firing a bullet. So bullet is having a small mass m. The gun, the entire system of the gun is having capital M mass. First, let us talk about the forces. What are the forces which are acting? So there will be a normal forces over here. The mg over mg of the gun, the weight of the gun, the weight of the bullet, right? So these are the forces which are acting from external point of view. And apart from that, the force applied by the gun on the bullet and the force applied by the bullet to the gun. So these are action reaction force. So they will anyway equal to each other, right, and opposite in direction. So they will cancel out each other and all other forces are vertical. And even if there is a normal force acting, then normal is always vertical. So if there is some other force, then that is also vertical. So we will say that there is no net horizontal force. So momentum will be conserved in horizontal direction. Let us conserve the momentum in horizontal direction. How do we do that? Initially, the entire system was stationary. So I can write that initial momentum is nothing but m plus m, the total mass, and velocity is 0. What about the final momentum? To write the final momentum, we needed velocity of both these particles. One is the gun, one is the bullet itself. So we will say that let us assume that this is v. So I'll write momentum of this is minus mv. What is this velocity of the bullet, but we don't know that velocity of the bullet with respect to gun or barrel is basically VR. It is not the actual velocity. So I'll say velocity of the bullet with respect to gun. How do we define it? Velocity of the bullet minus velocity of the gun. And I am just talking about horizontal direction. So I will say this is, you can make the component. So this is VR cos 60 and this will be VR sin 60. So VR sin 60, we don't have to do anything. I'll just talk about horizontal velocities. So I'll say the velocity of the bullet, the actual velocity of the bullet is nothing but velocity of the bullet with respect to ground plus velocity of the gun. What is the velocity of the bullet of the ground? Velocity of the bullet with respect to gun, not ground, sorry. And this is velocity of the gun itself. So this is VR, but VR what? VR sin 60 and I'm writing J cap plus VR cos 60 I cap plus velocity of the gun, which is minus V I cap. So if we just talk about horizontal velocity, because we have to conserve the horizontal momentum or momentum in along x-axis, then I will say that this is the velocity, which is VR cos 60 minus V. So this is the horizontal velocity of the bullet once it is fired. So I will write plus momentum of the bullet, which is mass of the bullet, into velocity of the bullet, which is nothing but VR cos 60 minus V. And let us solve this equation for small v, which is the final velocity of the gun with respect to ground, which we want to find. So this is 0, this mv comes this side, so we get mv is equal to mvr cos 60 is basically half minus small mv. This comes here, we get v into m plus m is equal to mvr by 2, and then it can be solved. So v is nothing but, final velocity is nothing but mvr is mass of the bullet into vr, which was given in the question, time divided by 2 times capital M plus small m, mass of the bullet plus mass of the gun. So this is the question. Now let us discuss one more question. So this question says two persons A and B, there are two persons A and B, both are having small m mass. This railroad is having capital M mass. Now what happens is, the first person jumps with a velocity of u with respect to the basically current velocity of the car, railroad, okay, and then whatever happens, then this person also jumps. So this is person A and this is person B. Person A jumps towards left and person B jumps towards right, and eventually again he jumps with u, but with respect to the current, like with respect to the railroad, right? Not actual, that this u is not the actual velocity of the person B. This is with respect to this railroad. So what is the final velocity of this railroad? That is our agenda, that we need to find the velocity of the car once both the persons have jumped off. So let us discuss the solution. First, when this person jumps with u, this u is with respect to the car. So as of now, the railroad or car is basically stationary. And if with respect to this means the actual velocity of this person is also u. So this person A is jumping with a velocity, horizontal velocity of u. Now I would say that momentum will be conserved. So I am applying momentum between these two systems. One particle is like this person A, which is jumping towards left with a speed of, horizontal speed of u, and this entire thing will simultaneously start going in that direction with v1. So let us first find v1. So I am just applying momentum conservation in horizontal direction. As we know that all the forces along horizontal direction on this entire system can't be there, because only point of horizontal, only source of the horizontal force is basically this ground, and friction is absent. So if friction is not there, there can't be any horizontal force on the system. So I'll say horizontal momentum will definitely be conserved. What is initial horizontal momentum? Is 0. The entire system was stationary. Now I am writing the final. So this is minus mu. Momentum of this person is minus mu, and momentum of these two is what? M plus small m times v1. And using this equation, this is the initial momentum, which is 0. That must be equal to final momentum. So I am saying this final momentum is also 0. And that gives me v1 is equal to mu divided by m plus m. And this is my v1. Now next thing is, once he has jumped off, now the entire system is basically moving in this direction with a velocity of v1. Now, suddenly this person jumps with a relative velocity of u again. Now, relative velocity of with the respect to railroad. So, what will be the actual velocity? Again, you can say the velocity of the b with respect to railroad is nothing but velocity of the b minus velocity of the railroad, and we need to find the actual velocity of the b. So, actual velocity is nothing but it is velocity of the b with respect to railroad plus velocity of the railroad, and both are basically u towards right. So, they will simply add up. We will say it is u plus v1. So, this person is actually going with u plus v1. And what about this? Let us assume that this is going after once he jumps off, then the entire mass m, the railroad, is moving with a velocity v2. So, again apply the momentum conservation. I'll say initial momentum. What is initial momentum? M plus small m times v1. This is initial momentum. Entire m plus m are going with v1. What about final momentum? Final momentum is this capital M is going with minus v2, minus because it is towards left, plus this small m is going with u plus v1, and this equation we can solve for v2. v1 we already know, we will substitute that. So m plus m times v1 is simply mu. So this is small mu. I am substituting m plus m into v1 is mu is equal to minus mv2 plus mu plus mv1. So mu and mu gets cancelled, and then I will say m capital M v2 is equal to m v1, and eventually v2 is nothing but m by capital M into v1. What is our v1? v1 is small mu divided by m plus m, and that gives us our final answer, which is small m square u divided by m times m plus small m. So this is the final velocity of the railroad, and as we have seen that this v2 is coming as a positive quantity because these all are positive. This is square and this is entire thing is a positive quantity, means the actually the railroad will be moving at the end, will be moving towards left. So our assumption that railroad is moving with in this direction is already correct.